Time for some micro-sized car audio amplifiers by Soundstream. Let's see.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave.
Soundstream Reserve Series includes head units, subwoofers, digital amplifiers, micro amplifiers, regular power amplifiers, speakers, and yeah, these are designed to be some of the higher end stuff from Soundstream, which are supposed to be dealer only. Now we're going to look at the Reserve Micro Series, a 4-channel and a monoblock. Again, these are dealer specific models according to Soundstream website, and you have to go through a special program even to get the privilege of selling them. So why are we seeing them on Amazon? $105 for the 4-channel model and the bigger monoblock, $140. What's up with this? So we took a look at the seller of one of these amplifiers, and it's sold by Epsilon, which Epsilon is the parent company of Soundstream.
Sometimes it's not all brain, it's something else.
So these products being available online actually are helpful for me because I can show them to you guys and link to them so you can purchase them. The 4-channel model, the RSM1.4000D, is the first one we're going to look at. Ratings include 75 watts by 4 at 4 ohms, 110 watts by 4 at 2 ohms, 220 watts bridged times 2 at 4 ohms, max power of 1200 watts. Of course, that's what's written on the box. I don't know why they do this. Max power thing is so yesterday, so 1980. Anyway, in the box here, you get high-level inputs. You also get some mounting screws for the amplifier. And you get one of these 30-amp Pico-size fuses, which is accessible through the inside of the amp. Let's take it out of the package. You can see it's not a bad-looking little micro amp. It is aluminum with the end panels there being plastic, but overall, it looks really nice. Here on one side of the amplifier, you can see the different settings for the high-level input, and then you can see it's kind of a mirror on both sides as far as what the options are. Crossover, low pass, full or high pass, the gain control, and pretty much the same thing on the other side. There's a power LED on the left, protect LED on the right. On the opposite side, we have the speaker level outputs, which are approximately 10 or 12 gauge. And then we have the 4 gauge terminals for power and ground, and also a 12 gauge or so for the remote. This amp is bridgeable as well. And as far as the dimensions go, it's about 7 inches for the length, 3.75 inches for the width, 1.75 inches for the height. Specs are included here. It is a 4-channel premium amplifier with Class D variable high and low pass filters, 12 dB per octave, 30 amp fuse, some protection, all that good stuff. Now let's move on to the big monoblock. This is the 4,000 watt max version. There's also another smaller version we won't be covering in this video. This model is the RSM1.4000D, which is stated RMS power 600 watts at 4 ohms, 850 at 2 ohms, 1200 at 1 ohm with a max power of 4,000 watts. Again, at the time of this video, it sold for around $140 on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the video description if you want to check it out, see what the current price is, and if it's still available. Let's take it out of the box. You can see all the separate components here. Another high-level input in case you want to use your speaker-level outputs. We have some mounting screws. There's a couple of different sizes there. Not sure what's up with that. We get 3 30-amp Pico-size fuses. Also, remote base cable, which is a TRRS 3.5 millimeter. Then we have the base remote, which again accepts this 3.5 millimeter cable, and the other end goes into the amp. You can see just very simple here, just has a power LED and a small potentiometer. It is all plastic. Now I will say these 3.5 millimeters I don't like because it's so easy to unplug. Now there is a way to get around this. Professional companies use 3.5 millimeters for audio also in some cases, but they use a threaded lock which holds it in. This is what car audio companies need to do if they're going to continue to use these style bass remotes, in my opinion. Now let's check out the amplifier. Again, it looks just like the other one. Has the slick kind of silver grayish finish with the Soundstream embossed into the amplifier. And here we go on one side, very simple, has the bass remote connection, left and right RCA input, high-level input, gain control, subsonic filter, low pass filter, and variable bass boost as well. The bass boost is at 45 Hertz, and the low pass is 12 dB per octave as well as a subsonic. On the opposite side, we have power, ground, and remote. Now, what's interesting here, I'm going to show it later, the power and ground is not quite 4 gauge. The speaker level output has a single speaker level output for around 10 to 12 gauge wire. It's always nice to have multiple speaker outputs, but you can see here there's not really room for that. As far as dimensions go, 9 inches for the length, 3.75 inches for the width, and 1.75 inches for the height, same as the 4-channel for the width and height. As far as features go, it is Class D, 12 dB per octave crossovers as I mentioned, wired dash remote, fuse rating 30 amps by 3, has all kind of protection built in as well. Here you can see the size difference between the two amps. It is important to note, these are not marine rated, have no IP ratings. They're not designed for getting wet or for any application like that at all. And as I mentioned, the power terminals are oddly wrong size. If you look at the Monoblock, they're much smaller than the 4-channel. So instead of drilling, Soundstream was illin'. Now today it's like you're getting a double feature, you're getting 2 different amplifiers tested in the same video. As for the amp dyno results, on the left you'll see the RMS power output in watts. In the middle, the ohm load. On the right, the voltage of the dyno. We're also going to calculate efficiency of the amplifier with the clamp meter.
This here's my favorite part.
First off, we're going to show the 4-channel model in the 4-channel mode. We have 2 channels on the dyno. We have 2 channels on other resistors, so all the channels are loaded. Rated 75 by 4 at 4 ohms. You don't quite get there. 65 by 4 at right at 14.4. And as far as efficiency goes, we measured about 77%. That's okay. I would expect it to be a little bit higher on this micro amp. 2 ohms 4-channel mode. It's rated 110 by 4. We got right at 100 watts by 4. 14.32. And efficiency dropped a little bit more, 70%. Again, for a micro amp, yeah, you really need higher efficiency. Now let's bridge the amp and down to 2 channels, and you'll see both of the channels here. We're going to try 1 kilohertz first. It's rated 220 watts by 2. And wow, check it out. We actually got the rated power and a little bit more at 13.5. So that's awesome. Now we tried it at 40 hertz just to compare, and you can see we did not reach rated power at 40 hertz, but I doubt anybody's going to be using this amp at 40 hertz, honestly.
Because 40 hertz gives you a lot of thump in your car. It's that deep pounding bass that you really want to hear in your car.
Right.
And everything below that is pretty much a waste of information.
This is not a Mickey Mouse program!
77% efficient, which is okay for the 2-channel bridge mode on this 4-channel amp. Now we did run it at 2 ohms bridge dynamic at 1 kilohertz just to kind of see what kind of power we got. There you go, about 760 watts. Yo! Here are all the results of the 4-channel, including the tests I did not show, the clip and the burst test, as well as the efficiency. You can pause this if you want to see these in detail. But yeah, we tested also bridged at 8 ohms, and we did the dynamic test, which you saw at 2 ohms. So the amp basically met rated power or came very close to it. Now for the big Monoblock 4,000 watt max 1200 watt RMS. Let's see what we get here. 4 ohms is rated 600 watts. Again, we're just going to mainly do the certified test here. And we got 371 at 14.5. Uh-oh.
And this is nonsense.
Efficiency was a little close to 80%. We got 77%, so not terrible there. Now let's try the amp out at 2 ohms. It's rated 850 watts at 2 ohms. Here we go. Oh man, 597 at 14.42. Efficiency dropped a little bit, but still not terrible. 75% at 2 ohms. Now let's try the 1 ohm test. It's rated 1200 watts. We're going to do 40 hertz track first. And yeah, not quite 800 watts at 14.32, 794.
If they're just plain out lying to you.
For the uncertified test, I decided to run 100 hertz tone because this may have been what they used to test the amp. And you can see we got 1000 watts at 14.13, still a little shy though of that 1200 watt rating. What about dynamically? 40 hertz burst track used here, and yes, we actually got the 1200 watts. We were a little bit over 14.5 volts, 14.53, but we got 1220. As far as efficiency though, not so good at 1 ohm, 63%. Now you can see all the results again. Pause it if you want to see all the different numbers here. Basically, 1 ohm burst is the only one that met rated power. Everything else was below rated, in some cases quite a bit below. Now let's try the sound check on the 4-channel amp with the ELAC bookshelves. Let's go for some straight out bass with the Monoblock 1200 watt amp. See how it powers this 6.5 inch Sundown sub. Now let's take off 6 screws on the bottom of each amplifier to find out what's inside. We'll take a look at both of these. You can see the 4-channel on the top, of course. And yeah, not a whole lot going on here. Power transformer, some caps. There's the daughter board section, and then the monoblocks on the bottom. And we're also going to show it here closer up so you can see the transformer and the filter caps. And then once we got the amps heated up after doing the test and everything, we hit the FLIR, 165 degrees or so there on the choke. That is, of course, Fahrenheit, not Celsius. And the outside of the 4-channel wasn't too hot, 80-some degrees. And on the bottom, you see about 112 degrees there for the transformer. Now let's talk about the pros and cons of both of these amps. First up, the good stuff. Small footprint, has clean looks. I really like the design. Insert terminals, you don't have to worry about any Molex plugs. The 4-channel made rated power for the most part. Reasonable pricing, I would say, and available online. Hopefully that'll stay that way, and people won't do this dealer-only crap. Things to consider: overrated power for the most part, especially on the monoblock. Efficiency was okay, not great. Standard RCAs instead of Tiffany. Bass remote features were weak on the monoblock. Small terminals on the monoblock as well for power. The single speaker output on the mono. The noise from the 4-channel, we're going to get to that at the end of the video, and also they're not marine or UTV rated. So overall, I think these are decent amplifiers in this price range especially, and for the size, but I do have some concerns with the monoblock being overrated. Also the noise in the 4-channel, which if you stick around to the very end, you'll see what I'm talking about. All the models plus alternatives will be listed in the video description below. Thanks as always for watching. Big D, I'm out of here. So this is a noise I'm getting through this amp, but it's coming from the charger that's charging the battery, but I have that going all the time and I usually don't get this noise. So something to note, you may get some extraneous noise from this amplifier. It must be missing some filtering on the input side or something.